All right, guys, so the shills are out in full force, and this is something I've been talking about for quite a bit with the Dragon Age the Veilguard videos that I've been making, and apparently Game Rant has now decided to join in on this conversation. Now, when I've been talking about Dragon Age the Veilguard, I've been hinting at the fact that I think this will be the journalist Game of the Year, right? This is what's going to win Game of the Year at Game Awards, because when we talk about Game Awards, we already know that that show is not about what the actual best Game of the Year is. It's not voted on by gamers. It is all about what the best game of the year is for the message. And they want to ensure that the message is protected and pushed out there for everybody to consume forcibly, because that's how they are with their ideology. Well, apparently we have an article here, and it says after just 6 hours, Dragon Age the Veilguard is a definite Game of the Year contender.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
Guys, you're going to see articles like this a lot from Game Rant, IGN, Kotaku, all of the like. They're all going to start putting out articles like this talking about how this is the Game of the Year. This is it. This is going to be the one that is going to be Game of the Year. No doubt about it. And apparently all it took was 6 hours in order to come to this decision. And anybody who's played RPGs knows that 6 hours is not exactly a lot of time to do very much in the game. Now, these are from the same people that supposedly spent 20 to 40 hours playing Black Myth Wukong. They didn't even bother to review the full game. All they did was they played the first 2 chapters and talked about that, and they lied about it when they said there was no female representation in the game, when all there is freaking female representation after chapter 2. But that's besides the point, guys. This video game, Dragon Age the Veilguard, is going to be their game, the journalist, the Urinalist game. So let's get into this article from Game Rant. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. And again, it took me 44.4 hours, I just looked at it, on Steam in order to beat Black Myth Wukong from start to finish. And it took them 40 hours just to get through chapter 2, if they even got through chapter 2. Because if they did, they would realize it was a female at the end of chapter 2. And if they said there's no female diversity anywhere in the first 2 chapters, then guess what that means? They didn't even beat chapter 2. These people are pathetic. I wouldn't be where I am today without Oh, guy, you're starting off strong. Who wrote this? It's a trans person. Anytime you see an animated profile picture like this, usually it's a trans person. I don't have any confirmation of that, but I'm trying to see if I can find it. I don't really see anything here. Joshua. Yeah, Duckworth. Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably a trans person. Anyway, I wouldn't be where I am today without Dragon Age. Oh, stunning and brave. I've always loved video games. I've often used them to escape times when my life wasn't so great. But that escapism never hit the same way it did when I was in Thedas. To date, there's not a franchise I played every single game of more than Dragon Age, or any individual game for that matter. Thousands upon thousands of hours of my life have been spent in Thedas. In fact, my earliest memories of Game Rant were following it as a reader for news on Dragon Age Inquisition. When I applied for the job years later, I remember telling editor-in-chief Anthony Tormina that my favorite franchises were Dragon Age and Assassin's Creed, because I love anything that gives me deep, insightful world building and lore. I remember the first Dragon Age article I wrote hold on, wait, time out. So Dragon Age lore and everything like that. So you like deep world building and all that. So you're okay with the top surgery scars that completely ruin the lore? Are you okay with that? Like, why the fuck would they do top surgery in the first place in a world based on magic where you can literally just become a female through magic, or a male through magic? I don't understand. You don't think that's a little bit world breaking? You don't think that's a little bit lore breaking? How that just kind of like takes you out of it for somebody who supposedly cares so much about the world building and the lore building? You don't think that just takes you out a little bit? Can you admit just even a little bit that it takes you out, right? Not even if you want to shill, go ahead, but just even a little bit. Of course, they're not going to. I remember the first Dragon Age article I wrote for the site being Varric's Hard in Hightown getting seriously published. I remember covering Dragon Age 4's first teaser at the Game Awards 2018, and I can't remember the number of failed pre-writes I've done over the years, hoping it would pop up at an event. I've been waiting for this day ever since I finished Inquisition in 2014. I will always remember the preview event for Dragon Age the Veilguard, just like I remember sacrificing myself to slay the Archdemon in Origins. God, that's a good game. Watching the Chantry explode in Dragon Age 2 Realizing that Anders was in Awakening, I played DA2 first, and hearing Corey Fias say, "I beg I succeed, for I have seen the throne of gods, and it was empty in Inquisition. They are all core memories of my life, and they're the kinds of things that can experience for the first time once. I spent 6 hours in Dragon Age: The Veilguard, seated beneath the banner of Harding, immersed in a world I've always loved, and that is too already a core memory, and it was only a taste of the memories I know I'll cherish." This man is like living his entire life. Man, woman, whatever this is, living their entire life through Dragon Age. And again, guys, this person who is clearly a Dragon Age shill, right? Which is fine, right? I love the original Dragon Ages. I wish that it didn't go the way it did with Inquisition, and I definitely wish it didn't go the way it's going with Veilguard. But I definitely love the original one for sure. It's definitely one of my favorite RPG games of all time, and it's top tier content. If nobody's played it, if you haven't played the original Dragon Age, you need to play it. There's no doubt about it. But in terms of biased reporting, this is probably maximum bias, right? Somebody openly admitting that they love this game. It shaped their life. It's everything there ever is to them. And they're going to call it Game of the Year after 6 hours. Yeah, I would say this is pretty much as biased as it can possibly get. There's still so much left for me to experience, and I'm counting the days until its release. But 6 hours with Dragon Age: The Veilguard is 6 hours filled with thrills, anticipation, and utter horror as the threats continue to compound. During my preview, I was able to play 5 distinct sections of the game, changing each time between the warrior, mage, and rogue classes to get a full understanding of how they work. There is cuts between these sections, hopefully sparing me the worst of spoilers. Broadly speaking, this preview covered the prologue, the introduction to the Crossroads, Lucanus recruitment, and second mission, A Major Decision, and Weishaupt Fortress, all of which are part of Act 1 in the Veilguard. So again, all it takes is 6 hours doing basically the freaking prologue for this game. And that's enough for this journalist to say that this is Game of the Year contender. No doubt about it, right? This person very clearly is extremely biased. And I got to imagine, I'm trying to see if there's anything they talk about when it comes to the diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm at least happy they're talking about the freaking story and the lore of the original Dragon Ages instead of shilling for the absolute garbage that we are seeing in this character creator. But I don't see him talking about anything regarding the inclusivity of the game just quite yet. And I'm looking through it because this is a long article, but he is actually going over the game, which I am happy to see. It's about time that people actually talk about the freaking story, and that's where he's coming from. So this is good. I'm happy to see this, but ultimately, let me just scroll through really quick just to make sure. He's going through every single character. I saw the word flirt there. I also try to flirt with Lucanus around this point. Yeah, I'm not surprised you flirted with a guy. Let's see. Speaking of the company, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Later on in the game, we finally had all companions. Which, again, what they did with the Qunari, man, Jesus. I don't even know who said that was a good idea to turn the Qunari into this, like, ultimate freaking, I don't know, virtue signal to book TikTok girls. But that's really what it looks like. So, again, he doesn't talk anything about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Very interesting. Actually, pretty shocking. So I will give him at least the benefit of the doubt in that regard, and he kept it to the game, the story, the lore, and whatnot. But I think it's extremely disingenuous to call this game Game of the Year when you had games like Black Myth Wukong out there absolutely destroying this game. And I guarantee you Dragon Age: The Veilguard will not come anywhere close to Black Myth Wukong. Not even just terms of numbers, but in terms of what it offers too. Black Myth Wukong is actually so damn good. I was shocked towards the end of it. At first, it started off like a really Souls-light kind of game, which is fine. I'm all for that. But then it started to branch out into something that it just became its own thing, and it was so fucking good. And the amount of secret bosses that I missed in my first playthrough when I looked up guides and whatnot after I finished playing the game, because I don't want to look up guides while I'm playing the game. I looked up some stuff after I finished the game and realized how much content is actually in that game. And for the price they were charging with no DLC, everything, it was a complete package from day one. It's just wild to me. And a game like Dragon Age: The Veilguard, I don't think it's going to deliver the same kind of content and the same kind of value that Black Myth Wukong delivered. And that's kind of sad considering it's a BioWare RPG and it should have plenty to offer. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be so ingrained in the identity politics that I hear anyway, and I see from the videos and the trailers, the combat looks extremely boring. The combat is clunky. It's not really fleshed out. And it clearly sees, you can see that it was on the back burner. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So ultimately, guys, we're going to find out whether or not Dragon Age: The Veilguard actually wins Game of the Year, but I'm calling it right now. I really feel like this will be the Game of the Year right now. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.